Hello guys, welcome to the stream. I'm joined here today by Alexis Le Dressay, the creative director, and Matthieu, Brevet, the lead designer at Eugen Systems. Hello guys, you want to say hello to the stream?
Hi. Hi everyone.
The quality might vary a little bit because obviously we're doing webcams today due to the old social distancing and coronavirus and whatever. So yeah, we've got some questions prepared from the community. What we're going to be doing today is just having some questions about Black Sunday, and then we'll be going through the community questions that were given on the Reddit post. So we've got quite a lot to go through, that's for sure. All right, you guys ready?
Sure.
Okie dokie. So, first question about Black Sunday. What can people expect in the new DLC?
An entire new nations with its own equipment and two army general campaigns instead of once this time, because we wanted to feature the whole of campaign, the whole chassis and Kitchener operation, but it was too wide for even our biggest map, so we've made two operations instead of one. And
cool.
It's a new unit, new ways. We've made the list already.
Yeah, I see you went all out with the campaigns this time, bringing us two, which is gonna be crazy. So much content. Why did you guys choose Romania as the next location for the history pass?
We had promised to add new nations with each DLC, and on the Eastern Front, after from the Soviet Union side, there's not that many. So Romania was kind of the logical next step after Finland. Some would have said it should have been done before Finland, because Romania was the main Axis partner with Germany on the Eastern Front. So it's kind of logical that we moved to Romania.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
That is Jassy Kitchener operation is maybe the greatest disaster on the Eastern Front. Why the German called it the Black Sunday of the Wehrmacht.
Right. Yeah, it's quite an important event, isn't it? Really collapsed that bottom side.
It's not very well known, but it's a very important battle.
Okay, how many new maps can we expect in the new DLC?
In this one, none. No new maps. We've focused on army general campaigns and its maps, and there's no new tactical maps.
Are there plans for new maps?
In the future, yes.
Yes.
So they're going to come a bit later down the line.
Can't do everything at once.
Okay. So what are your favorite divisions from the new DLC? We'll go with Madmat first, yeah.
Mine will be the Soviet Naval Group back team. I love patchwork division with a bit of many things, and I'm more of an infantry players than tank.
What about you, Alexis?
Romanian ones. Because they simply.
Yeah, the first Blindata looks really cool. I'm really looking forward to the unique Romanian units. I think they're going to be pretty awesome. Yeah, so with the release of the Black Sunday DLC launch, a lot of people are wondering whether or not you guys are going to do a free weekend or some sort of promotion with that.
This is something that we are thinking about. I think what we would like to do maybe before launching a free weekend is maybe improving the maybe the tutorials or things like this. We have the feeling, and from what we are reading in the forums or in the Steam reviews, is that the game is still difficult to. The learning curve is a steep one, and we would like to make it easier for new players to come in. So if we have time to improve again the step in the game, that would be awesome. If we don't, probably we'll try to do a free weekend early than this.
Right. Okay. That's cool.
Only, maybe for this new DLC.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that you want to make the game more accessible to people in general. That's nice to hear. I think a lot of people are wondering, and I don't know if you can say, but when is the new DLC going to be released? You got a rough time frame on that?
We don't know exactly when. We are working a lot on it to finish it, but we don't know exactly when it should be the proper time. I believe we still need maybe less than a month, but it's difficult to say right now. We are also, as Matthieu was saying, we are adding two different campaigns. So it means 4 campaigns, because you can play on both sides, each campaigns. And we are adding some new stuff for Army General, trying to make it easier to understand when you play the auto-resolve. There are a lot of cool elements to improve the overall experience. So we still need to fix some stuff that we started working on. So yeah, like I was saying, it's difficult to say. Is it going to be in a month or a little bit more than a month?
I think it'd be best if, obviously, it'd be better if it was complete. So obviously take your time and make sure it comes out right at the right time, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, I think quality is the most important thing right now.
Yeah. So let's move on to the community questions now. There were a lot of burning questions on the Reddit. So you guys in chat, we probably won't be taking too many questions from chat unless we have some extra time at the end. But basically, we're going to be going through the Reddit questions from earlier this week. So let's begin. Will there be any more new content for Steel Division 2 on the Eastern Front after this DLC?
Yes. Yes, very probably. As we are, like I was saying, we are finishing the Black Sunday DLC and also focusing on improving the quality of Steel Division 2. We don't have a very precise idea of the next content that we'll be working on for Steel Division 2, but we have a lot of things that are really interesting us. We believe also, and just to add a thing about the first question you were asking about, why did we choose Romania? We believe that in terms of like history and learning history, it's really cool, I think, to cover specific subject and try to do things that are not that much popular in the video game. So I think the Romanian campaign is one of these, and we still have some ideas about Eastern Front, but are also thinking about new theaters too.
So you're going to potentially add new theaters of war to Steel Division 2?
Yeah, so this is definitively something that is that we are thinking about, and that is an open subject at the studio.
Okay, awesome. Another question. Are you planning to add more Steel Division normally 44 divisions to Steel Division 2? Because we've had 2 DLCs so far.
What we were thinking with Matthieu is maybe ask the community what kind of division there will be, thinking of having. Actually, it's quite a lot of work to put a division from Steel Division Normandy and to put it in the game, regarding the tuning and all the stuff like this. So, and Matthieu was also thinking about having small amount of division, 2 from each side all the time, but also like saying, like thinking about what the community is looking forward to see.
But we're still thinking of focusing more still on the Eastern Front. And delivering divisions from campaign we may not cover with army generals. So there might be some cool divisions in place we won't make a full DLC about, but it would be cool to pick some division together. And usually we can pick one from each side on the same battle. Kind of a nemesis.
Oh, right, so like small packs with like fan favorites kind of thing.
And
yes.
Our idea was to let the community vote for. We prepare a list. The community vote for the next one.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. So another question. This is more for the competitive community. Are you planning to add DLC maps to the 1v1 ranked or quick play rotation?
Yes, probably. This is actually we had to remove them from the ranked list because, of course, if you don't have it, it doesn't work. So probably we're going to flag it and allow just for the ranked to all the maps to be played, which is also I think an incentive for players to get into the ranked because they will have maps that they can't use if they don't own the DLC.
Right. Yeah. Cool. So they'll basically be able to play the maps even though they don't own the DLC. Is that what you're saying?
In ranked, yes.
Oh, okay. Cool. Awesome. That'd be great for the community, for the competitive community. 100%. So another question. This has always been a burning question in the community. Can and will you add a time limit as an option in the lobby, like in the multiplayer lobbies?
Oh yes, absolutely. In fact, what we have usually is we have a lot of single players are asking for removing the time limit, and especially when they're playing army general. So this is also something that will be looking if this could be an option too, and of course we have to think about having a time limit in the lobby. We're pretty open to the subject if it's doable without like destroying or creating too much cheats, but definitively this is something that is that we'll be working on.
Awesome. I had a question here that says, will we see more king tigers? But I think we answered that earlier. There is obviously potential for that with I guess maybe if we have more divisions coming in from the Western Front again or something like that. Are there any divisions on the Eastern Front that were hosting king tigers? Okay. Do you think we might see that in the future?
You said we are planning to propose people to vote for division, but on the Eastern Front. And this one might be one of them.
Awesome. Well, there you go, guys. Those of you who want more king tigers, that's something to look forward to potentially.
It was actually the other king tiger, not the one with one panzer.
Right. So you said earlier in the earlier Q&A that we had before about the possibility of a map editor. Is that still in the works?
Yes. Actually, it's in the works. We have made a few steps in this direction, but it's still a lot of work. But yes, definitively, this is something that we would like to become a reality. Honestly, if we have a schedule, should be something like it can't be less than 6 months, I guess. But it's long because there are a lot of things that has to be done, and yeah. But we have this on our list.
Right. Cool. Would you consider a matchmaking system as a replacement for lobbies in the next game? So if there's going to be a Steel Division 3 potentially. Oh, we've lost Madmat. Where's he gone?
It's coming back.
That's not my overlay.
In fact, what we have...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, the problem we have is if we do a matchmaking system, it means that all the players, we need to have a flow of players going on all the time. That is really big. Actually, I think on Steel Division 2 we are about between 300 and 1,000 players every day, something like this. I would say that most of those players, probably something more than a half, are playing solo, which means that we don't have enough players, like every second that will be playing. What I suggest, instead of having a matchmaking system, is probably to use more the what we did with the 10v10 servers, is to allow servers for any kind of maps and stuff like this. So that in order to guide a little bit the players to get all together, which could be some kind of matchmaking, but unless that we are much more, that the community is much bigger, I think the matchmaking system will not be a super cool idea, because it probably lead to waiting too much for having like new players to get in, unless that we oblige everyone to go through the matchmaking. But probably this will not make everybody satisfied.
Yeah, I agree. I think unless the player base was a lot bigger, like a matchmaking system probably wouldn't work too great, like if there wasn't a lobby system as well. So I've got a question here that says, do you intend to rework artillery mechanics?
That's a wide question. So which one? Why?
The
answer to that will be no.
Not really.
It can be tweaked, but no. It's a bit vague as a question.
Yeah.
So
I've just
vague answer, no.
Okay, so no to that. Okay, now we're moving on to balance. So when will the AT and tank distance rework be released? Because that was mentioned in a post more recently.
DLC, the Black Sunday actually is focusing on it on Black Sunday, and once it will be shipped, we'll have more time to work on massive balance reel, like 80 tank distance or infantry weapons, like we said we would.
Right, yeah, so it's mostly going to come after the next DLC. Okay. We've also got a plan or a question about Recon. Is there any plans to make Recon like more relevant towards its intended role in the future?
Yes, we'd like to. It's actually on our to-do list for quite a long time now, and it's something we haven't been able to tackle since the beginning, because we always had to work on premise DLC and stuff. But once we are done with History Pass, it's also on our to-do list.
Okay, cool. Are there plans to rebalance a few maps by changing locations of control flags in future?
Maybe it can be done, but if we say yes to that, we'll have hundreds of people asking for change, some microscopic.
Yeah.
So maybe we can consider asking people which are a few ones they consider the most unbalanced, and we can work on that one, on those ones.
Yeah, I think it's obviously probably low on the priority right now. So with the Tribute to D-Day DLC, there have been more restrictions for units to be brought only in certain phases. Is this a general trend,
So,
And are you planning to go back and change base divisions to fit this
No.
style too?
No.
Nope, not at all.
It's not a trend. It's if it fits the divisions historically and it's cool in gameplay, it's fun. You do it. Otherwise, no. So it's not a trend. It's an option.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
It's cool and it makes sense for division with fighting in waves. Actually, with tribute, we've done it more because while SD2 division are usually a snapshot of a division at a very special moment, and at a given moment. SD1 division were made over 3 months, so usually they had new equipment, replacement, and stuff. So they would have had much more stuff all over the phases than East Front division. That's why we've blocked some units.
So there's a bit of a different methodology when you came to putting those divisions together.
Yes, but it's an option we have and we may use for other division. Some in Black Sunday will have that, like the naval group, which has only naval unit at the start, and the rest come afterwards. But because it makes sense, otherwise, no, we don't. It's not a general trend.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on infantry balance? Do you think tanks need to have more influence on the battlefield in the game currently? Because this is more coming from, I think, a competitive stance again, in that like the infantry meta is a big thing at the moment where a lot of people are using a lot of infantry. Do you think tanks need more influence on the battlefield?
Tank, yes, they need to be. We need to. Actually, the problem we've seen is that if meta is more focused on infantry and people complaining about infantry spams, and we think the infantry weapon balance may be something to deal with that. And as for tanks, increasing their infantry killing power is not something we will do generally. Some tanks like the Shamans are already very good at that. So some may be buffed, but not in general.
Okay, cool. Right, we would move on to the tools and UI questions here. All right, so do you have any plans to add a feature that allows us to see tank HP, kind of like in Wargame?
Yes, I think what we believe with Matthieu, and that's what we said, that we're going to tweak a little bit the tank combat system is it is too much linked on and based on randomness. So we believe that it should be more close to the aspect of destruction. So having the HP bar would probably make it more easy to understand. So that's why we believe we should display it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that'd be nice because currently the only real indicator is the model being like more damaged, like when you zoom in. So that'd be nice to have like a bit more of a idea, even if it was just like a rough indicator. But yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and I think we have to I think the conduct we have to use is make the game easier to read, easier to understand, in order to let players spend all their brain into the tactics rather than trying to decipher how the game works.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of like almost like hidden mechanics almost at the moment, aren't there?
Yeah.
Are we losing Madmat again, potentially?
Sorry.
That's okay. So, is there a plan to add smart order options, kind of like efficient shot, I guess, to sort of determine to fire APCR if the penetration of the AP falls off too much?
That's not actually a smart order you're asking about. It's more like rules of engagement, which are behaviors. So yes, that's something could be done, and we think that's a good idea. Another one we had was eventually to allow infantry unit to select the range of engagement if they want to engage at SMG range, rifle range, or machine gun range.
Oh, right, that'd be awesome, actually, yeah. So that you don't have your guns randomly
So
firing off at distance.
when you have an SMG unit with a machine gun, you can tell them to all of them fire only at SMG range. You don't have to cut CMG.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
So yes, we have ideas of improvement for rules of engagement.
Would you allow us in the future to mod campaigns?
As we are, well, this is also something that we would like to do, but we're more focusing on trying to have the editor map. So modifying campaigns mean it's a lot of work on our side to bring up the tools. I don't know if I don't remember if there is a question about the for the modding, but we are improving also the ability to mod the game. We had a restriction with the the DLCs. As soon as the DLCs were coming up, the modes were getting obsolete, and so this is something also that we're working on. So actually, just to reply to answer your question, is it's not on our list for the campaigns due to too much work on other subjects that we believe are a little bit more priority.
Yeah. So just not on the priority right now. Okay.
No.
So can we see can we expect to see an improvement on the line of sight tool? Currently has some issues around buildings and showing line of sight over trees from hills and stuff like that. Because I do actually feel like the line of sight tool was a little bit better in Steel Division Normandy 44, wasn't it? A bit more clearer. But what are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, in 1944 in Normandy it was clear, but it was inaccurate. It wasn't able to take in account the height. What we have now is something that is less accurate, but that is correct. And it's very difficult to make it extremely accurate due to an amount of sorry, I have the word in French. An amount of calcul of operations that is too high, making the game that will make the game stall.
Oh right, so
But,
it's like basically
again,
RAM
it's
usage,
not on our list.
like too many calculations going on at the same time.
Yes.
Right.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's interesting. Yeah, obviously, like it's come a long way since the release. So, like the beta, the tool was like laggy and stuff, and obviously it's been improved a lot since then. So it's good stuff. All right. Next question. Can you allow the AI to choose between which shell it uses? So, like a PAC 36, for example, organically using its like close range weapon when it gets close. I think that's again a bit more of a iffy question, but yeah, basically referring to the fact that like some of the weapons have like close range, like rocket weapons.
Actually, I already choose between when she will use both weapons.
Yeah, because I mean,
don't know exactly what that question is, because if the AI has a pick on the PAC 36, you'll see it uses each shell as well as a round.
Yeah, I think
so maybe one consider it should not use is a hit round on some targets, although it shouldn't fire on alt tracks or stuff like that. It has an algorithm which tell him when can consider using the. So it's already the case.
Okay. So current AP values, like penetration values, are shown at point blank. Would it be possible to show penetration at maximum ranges as well? Because I think that's more of a statistics thing on the unit cards.
You mean?
I think they're basically asking like if you could clarify in the statistics how much penetration you'll have at range.
At maximum range, you mean?
Yeah.
I think what we had in it wasn't what we had in Wargame, I guess. I think we had the display at maximum range.
Yeah.
Which is the contrary in Steel Division. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. This is basically something that we're gonna think about and deal when we're gonna rework the tank system to make it, like I was saying, try to make it much clearer. Even if you can have both, and let the player choose whether he prefer. To be honest, I think it's easier to understand to have the maximum range penetration value rather than the at the cannon. What we had in Steel Division 2 is every vehicle, every tank are shooting at the same range. So we thought it was making more sense to display it at the end of the cannon. What really Matthieu is wishing to have is to have different range for different cannons in order to have something that is more realistic. So probably we'll have to go with this feedback.
Right, and then when you make the range changes, change the penetration values based on that.
Yeah.
Right. So do you plan on developing smart orders any further?
Yes.
And what sort of things do you have in store for that?
Well, I think that what we did with the smart orders and then adding the rules of engagement and the feedbacks with the arrows when you select a unit and you see what it is doing and so on and so on. It's just the first step of something that we really want to, in fact, we really want to dig into this direction and to allow well, everything. I think I believe that this is something that is really really cool when you play a real-time strategy game. Is if you can have the AI handling some of the things that you don't want to do. That could be really really cool. So I don't. I have some precise thing in mind, but it's difficult to give all the but yeah, by now the only thing I can say is we believe that we have to think this to a higher level.
Right. So just improve it is what you want to do.
Improve it and make it even something more core to the game.
Right.
With, of course, the philosophy that you can use them or not. If you don't want to use them, you can play exactly. It is something that is really aside.
Right.
On the side. I mean.
More of a stepping stone for like newer players almost.
Yes,
well.
And for players that are maybe not, that fast at clicking and do all the stuff, and can be a little bit stressed if they have too many things to do at the same moment.
Okay. Right, moving on to questions about maps. We've already talked about maps a little bit, but there's a question here about when city maps are coming, because we had a blog post about city maps and urban maps in general. How's the progress going with that?
So we have one, but maybe just to be on the blog post, I think we were rather clear about the it's an urban map in a sense where the map is at the very large covered by urban structure, but it's not dense urban structure. So it's still, like the dachas and the stuff like this. So it means that infantry will be king because it's difficult to use tanks and vehicle. It's not like fighting in a forest, but it's more close to this rather than open range. But it's not maps with high density buildings. So I don't want to disappoint players when the map will be ready. But also we believe that there is an appeal for having very dense or urban fightings. So this is also something that we're working on, but it's two different things.
Right. Okay. So the sort of urban map that's sort of been shown off a little bit is very different from what people would perceive to be a city map.
It's a urban area. It's not a city map. It's a lot of village on the same map, but there's not new city models. Actually, we use this map as a test bed for maybe more thing later. But the map we call the urban map is not a city map. It's a lot of village and a large village.
Right. Yeah. As 13 says in chat, it's a suburban map as opposed to
yes.
Yeah.
It's a suburban map.
Okay.
Not in a city map.
So another question about maps. Are there plans to add maps from Normandy 44 potentially, or Western Front maps in general to Steel Division 2?
Yes, like we were saying with Matthieu a little bit earlier. Well, it was the first question regarding the next element. We're thinking about if we can have different environments for new DLC, and this is really something that is on the table right now. We have a lot of. We still want to cover things from the war in the East, but we're thinking about it. And as soon as we will have a definitive point of view regarding this, we'll tell everyone.
Cool. Yeah, so probably like you put up a blog post about it or something when we know more.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. There's a quick question here, but I think it's already been answered about city maps. There's a little question though about destruction. Do you plan to go further with destruction at all? Make it so you can drive over buildings or maybe through forests at some point if they were burnt through or something like that. Is there any plans to do with that?
There is no plans at the moment, but again, this is as we continue developing the game. If we have the feeling that is something that is of absolute necessity, we'll do it.
Yeah, I remember the beta test. Yeah, somebody reminded me in chat the beta test where we had tanks driving through heavy forest. That was quite something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. A question about fortification positions. Currently in Breakthrough, when obviously you put down all your fortifications, people are wondering whether or not it'd be possible to have a save fortifications kind of button so that you don't have to go through and do it every time.
We had this I think this problem with the fortification when playing Army General. It was sometimes very long. That's why we've created the auto deploy mode that allow to that let the AI doing all the job for you. The problem with the save is the save should be done by maps and stuff like this, and it has also to be. We thought it was a little bit maybe a little bit awkward to do it that way, and we're thinking that the auto deployment mode was wider, like easier to use. So yeah, we choose it this way.
Yeah,
And
that's fair
actually,
enough.
we're not planning anything like this.
Yeah, because otherwise you'd have to sort of think about obviously each map individually, each sort of potentially division, having different numbers of defenses and so on and so forth. So it'd get pretty complicated very quickly, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and by definition, the fortification are linked to a specific map. You don't want to have your fortification that will be put on the forest if it's on another map. So I think it can be complicated. You can't save the pattern of the fortification and put them everywhere you want, because there are a lot of you can't put any fortification on roads and stuff like this. So it's really a matter map per map, specific area per specific area. So I believe the auto deployment is the best tool for if you're a little bit if it requires too much time.
Yeah, and also obviously you can adjust it after the auto deployment anyway. So yeah, I think it's a good tool, 100%. There was also a question, I think this has already been answered, but one question that I have about the army general in general is basically when you're on a city in the army general map currently, you're forced to play out auto resolve. Is there any sort of plans to change that so that you play on a normal map?
If we have city maps or urban maps, yes, we'll put them there.
Okay. So that's more a thing like if you add maps that are sort of similar to the terrain, right?
Right.
Okay. Would you, this is a community question, would you be interested in incorporating a community-run competitive league into an official ranked season? So I think that's more upgrading the rank system in-game to sort of reflect what the community is currently doing themselves.
Yes, I think this is what exactly should be done in the game. It has to be. I think when you want to have a look at the leaderboard, it should reflect something that has the biggest value for the community. So yes, indeed, we should do this and have a season and stuff like this.
Oh, awesome.
The question is, how can we and how should we handle this? I guess we should try to do something with the community to make it exactly like the best for the community, rather than have something that we think and that we make only on our side. But I think that could be really cool.
Yeah. There was a question here about supporting the game after the final DLC, but we've already heard from you guys about new DLCs. I'm assuming that extends to balance updates as well. Are you planning to continue to balance update the game after the last DLC?
Yes.
Right.
As we said, we have tank range, infantry combat, Recon if we can.
A lot of stuff coming, yeah.
We have a lot of balance plans for after the last DLC, after Black Sunday.
Okay. A question about the servers. Will there be the ability for communities of Steel Division to host their own dedicated servers in Steel Division 2?
I think so, yeah. You mean using the if they want to configure a server with specific maps? Yes, absolutely. I think this is something because it's we should again. I think it's the same thing with the like the community and the ranking systems and the season. We should try to bring something all together. and if some leagues want to have specific server, and how we can handle this, yes. But definitively, this is something that we are open for, and we have, I think, the tools for bringing this and make this happen.
Cool. That'd be really cool. I've always kind of wanted my own sort of 10v10 server. I think that'd be cool because I host a lot of 10v10s, and being able to set up everything for that would be awesome. And I think obviously, like you mentioned, for the like competitive side, they might want to have dedicated 1v1 servers so they can set the rules and everything. So yeah, awesome. It's good to hear.
Sorry.
No,
yeah, if on the server you want to have a time limit, then this would be possible.
Right.
Everything should be...
Oh yeah, because obviously you already have the time limit servers, don't you? Yeah, on 10v10s there's already the 60-minute time limit.
Yeah.
Regarding 10v10, we also have plans to release tactical servers on 3v3 map.
Yeah. With the like so 10v10 on like a smaller map, with the tactical income.
Income.
Okay, so I've got questions about what comes next. So a question: is Steel Division 3 in the works, and are there plans for a Steel Division 3? I don't know if you can say yet.
No, what we have in plans for Steel Division 2 is probably work on the game, improve it, adding contents over maybe the... we want really to have this getting better and bigger. So I think it's going to stay a pretty long time. But we have... we're thinking about like having other games. So, but Steel Division 2 is going to stay a lot.
Yeah.
So no Steel Division 3 for in the next year, on the next 2 years. but a lot of improvement are going to come with Steel Division 3. Steel Division 2.
Yeah, just planning to sort of build up the current game and then Steel Division 3 3 years down the line. Cool. I've got a question here. It says, what do you think are the biggest successes and failures of Steel Division 2, and what have you learned from these? That's quite a deep question.
I think regarding the biggest success is probably, I think, when the game was out, we were able to prove that we can, like work on the game, improving the quality, continue developing around it, adding new ideas to it. Like, for example, the smart orders or all the improvement that we done around the game. So I think this, in my and probably also the DLC, with the amount of element that we have created. And my opinion, the biggest failures is probably when the game was out, the quality was not there. Well, I mean, the quality that we should be able to deliver, it was difficult. And also, I think we sometimes, or too many times, the game is seen as too complicated. I mean, in my opinion, there is a difference between something that is rich and something that is complicated. I believe that with the game that we're making, like Steel Division series or Wargame series, we are doing games that are dedicated for players that love strategy and military affair and history. And for them, it's not complicated, this kind of matter, because they like it. They understand the difference between a tank, an anti-tank gun, and whatever. But sometimes the mechanics that we are using, the feedbacks, maybe also the ergonomy are not at the finest level that they should be. That's why with Matthieu, we are thinking about making the tank combat a little bit better than what it is now, improving those core mechanics of the game. So to make it a little bit shorter, I think we can improve again the quality.
Yeah, okay, awesome. What are your thoughts about yourselves self-publishing? Are you planning to continue that trend, and how well has that gone for you guys?
Yes, definitively. I think it's really it was great to have great partners like Focus and Paradox and the previous publishers, but having your own self-publishing, it's more freedom. It's a better link with the community because you do everything. I think we are, and you have the feeling that you take your own risk, and yes, definitively, this is something that we like.
Okay, well, that's all of the Reddit Q&A questions. Are you guys free to take some questions from the chat? Or is the
Sure.
time getting on a little bit? I don't know how much time you guys have, so I don't want to keep you if you've got stuff to do. Right, let's see what we've got here. So what marketing plans do you have with the to increase the current player base? We talked about obviously free weekends already. Is there any other plans in place to help increase the player base?
No, I don't have any in my mind. I have the feeling that if we want to improve and increase the player base, we have to make the game more accessible to all the audience, all players that would like to try tactical, strategic, and military game as we are doing. This is my gut feeling. But otherwise, we continue working the way we do by being more visible on Steam with our blog post and trying to communicate in a better way with the community. So we have the feeling that this is something that make things better.
Yeah, and also more or less the same question. I think I just misphrased it apparently. Says, so with the current, there's been obviously a current uptake quite recently in players. Are you planning to sort of capitalize on that in any way?
What do you mean by capitalize?
Just like whether or not you're planning to just add more to keep people in the game and so on. Like, I guess you've got the new DLC coming out, so people have got that to look forward to anyway.
Yes, and I think by we continue developing the game, we continue thinking about how to make it better. What we have also, we have free stuff that's gonna be released in the future, like the co-op for Army General, making Army General better, a better experience, and so on and so on. So I believe that if we succeed in doing all the stuff and making the experience the best we can, probably players will get back to the game, and this will improve will make the community being stronger and bigger.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I believe more in the product rather than in the marketing that we can put all around. I have the feeling that the number one, and it's maybe the idea why we went to self-publish, is I believe more in the product. Like if the product is really good, probably players are going to talk about it and have the feeling this is really the kind of game I would like to play, because there is a dedicated team that is just working on this rather than having a dedicated marketing team.
Yeah, like sort of let the game speak for itself kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. I think the community has kind of developed around that methodology as well. We have a very sort of strong community here, and I think a lot of people think highly about the game. Now, this is an interesting question. This is one that actually kind of affects me a little bit. Will there be the possibility in the future to save the game in the enemy turn in Army General? Because for me personally, when I'm doing like campaign videos, and say if I get to my sort of 45-minute mark and the enemy attacks me, currently I can only go off the autosave, not the I can't save it manually. Is there plans to add that?
Well, it's like no, but we should be doing this. Yeah, absolutely. We definitively, this is something that we should write down on our list of improvement to come.
That's just like maybe something that was overlooked a little bit. Right. This is an interesting way. Will tanks ever get the possibility of smoke launches or smoke rounds?
Smoke rounds. Smoke grenades, it's not planned at the moment. We've considered it at the time, but there were many issues with it, so we've left it aside. Smoke rounds, it can be. Problem is we are limited in the number of ammunition and weapons, 4 or 5, and if there is a gun which has enough space and actually add smoke rounds, it should be we should be able to do it.
Cool. So there's potential, but not necessarily a promise.
Actually, we can do it with some artillery guns, which can shoot both indirect and direct fire and have smokes. So we can do it with tanks too.
Oh, cool. So direct fire smoke in the potential. There's a question here about potentially publishing, like, will you potentially publish the formulas for calculating damage, armor penetration percentages, and so on? Because there's a lot of obviously still hidden information around how the game mechanics work. Is there any plans to like almost publish like how the game works in that regard?
Yes. In fact, we believe that we should not be cryptic regarding the mechanics that are within the game. But as we are going to improve the tank combat system, probably we are going to give all this info at that moment. Because if we do it now, maybe it's going to be a little bit obsolete after the thing. But yeah, basically, I think the problem right now is that the tank combat system is to link it to randomness, because there is in fact it's a bit kind of complex depending on the penetration value you have and armor that you try to penetrate. You have odds of penetrating the armor, and the odds change regarding this this ratio, and there are also some hard values that are changing the ratio to make it more linked to the scale of the game. So it's kind of not very concrete. So yeah, that's why it could be a little bit better.
Yeah, it would probably be hard to sort of put across, I guess. Yeah. Here's a classic. Any Wargame 4 plans?
Well, of course we have. I think as it was the time where we didn't have any wargame in mind was after the release of Wargame Red Dragon, because we did Wargame European Escalation and then Airland Battle and then Red Dragon, and we were kind of like we had no more ideas about how could we improve the Wargame series. So that's why we went to World War II. And wanted to depict this combat. But yes, we of course we have a lot of ideas and plans regarding this.
Okay, so there is Wargame on the mind at least.
we love. Well, we want to cover all the combat period, and as soon as we are getting like really excited by doing things, we believe that we can do we need to have a lot of energy when you make a game, when you are making a game, because there are a lot of frustration when you are doing things. So that's why we need to have the great envy, and I think we have something that is really cool right now with Steel Division. Having we have the feeling that we are better controlling the quality of the things we are making. So yes, absolutely, we are thinking about how can we create new brands.
Cool. That'll be getting a lot of people excited now. Right. I think there's like more or less one last question about Steel Division 2. Will we see the Ferdinand or Elephant tank destroyer in the future? That's something that's very much Eastern Front, I think.
Yes, but as we say earlier to this interview, if we had new division and picked from the operation from the Eastern Front, this one, which is 653rd Schwere Panzerjägerabteilung, could be one of them. At least could be attached to one division.
Okay. Oh, actually, one more good one here is any plans on co-op Army General?
Yes, we saw that.
It's on its way.
Right. Yeah, because obviously you did Versus and co-op Army General on the way. All right, I think we'll leave it there. That is a lot of questions. I've been holding you guys for like over an hour now, so thank you very much for all of your input and your hard work on the game. I really do appreciate it, and obviously I think the community is behind you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for your interest in this game. We really, really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for answering the questions. Thanks for the support, guys, in the chat, and thank you for coming along. Good to see you all here. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.